But nobody knows who you were talking about, so it doesn't matter.
So you fixed everything?
I fixed everything. We're here, David.
See, I would not be able to do that.
You know something? This is why you are a man who makes the big bucks to do the big parts, and I sit on Facebook and invite you on.
That happens to me. You know what happens to me? I do this. Cheryl! Why?
Yes. Yes.
When are you?
Well,
okay, what can we do here? We can.
So David, we're gonna do. Okay, so first of all, I have to tell you the first. So you're a boy from Brooklyn. I'm a girl from the Bronx.
Right.
And your mother, I believe, is of Romanian descent. Is that true?
Absolutely.
So my grandmother was Romanian.
I know that.
And I thought that Jewish Italian, very fine line. I always got mistaken. I always got taken for Italian, and I know you get taken for Italian like crazy.
Of course, all the time.
So I know your mother was Jewish. What's your other half?
Romanian Jewish.
Me too. And what's your other half?
I was raised by an adopted grandmother. I was raised always Jewish. They sent me to a yeshiva when I was a little boy. You know what a yeshiva is?
My father was a yeshiva teacher.
I didn't go to public school, so I am so Jewish. But there is some other bloodline that goes on in me, and it's something I don't. My life was with my Jewish grandma, my Jewish mom, and that's my life.
Yes.
So I knew from nothing else.
And so,
but the thing is, the Italian American stuff came into my life, and it was in my life very much so because my sisters married Italians. And an Italian came into my life, very much so, with a brother-in-law that became more of a brother to me.
oh.
So, but a very typical kind of New York, kind of like, kind of soprano kind of guy. You know, those guys. He was sort of that. He was that. And so I knew him, and I loved him too. He passed very young, but. So for me, I think, people are interested always in the soprano character in my life. That's it. And that's fine. So we can talk about that.
We are going to talk. We're going to talk about a lot of other things too.
But I want to clear that up. I did Richie Aprile that year to playing a rabbi on
the West Wing.
Right. So I went from Richie to rabbi. And right?
And you've done a lot of other ethnic things.
And I played Russians and Greeks, and I have. But Italian Americans, when you have been in Mean Streets, which is a New York kind of compulsory viewing movie.
Oh God, yes.
Everybody in New York has seen Mean Streets.
Of course.
It's the New York and Italian. When you're there, and I'm sitting in a diner or a restaurant somewhere, inevitably, always, somebody will come up and say, "Hey, you remember the guy Anthony from the neighborhood?" And I'll say, "No, I don't. I don't remember. I don't remember Anthony." No. You know what I'm talking about. No, I don't. I really don't know who you're talking. Come on. And they'll do that. No, they will. They will. I'm talking about people who just refuse.
Well, those have to be New Yorkers and probably Brooklyn boys that are doing
to
that.
Accept certain realities. And there are times, I'm serious, and I've gone through that over the last 20 years in airports, in restaurants. The guy will always come up to me and says, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm doing fine. Now, you know what I mean. Who you hanging with? Who am I hanging with? I'm hanging with my wife. My daughter's here. My wife's here. And they'll not separate realities. They'll always say he's an Italian, and I know him from the neighborhood.
Of course. And do people confuse you with Richie Aprile? And are people afraid of you sometimes when they meet you?
Yeah, I've had that.
I bet
the guy told me, I got into a restaurant. I went into a restaurant. The guy said, "The waitress is nervous to serve you." I said, "Oh, what I do? What I say?" He said, "You said nothing. She saw you on the show. She's anxious. She won't serve you. She won't make a mistake or something." I've had that a few times. Yeah, people.
Did you ever hang out with wise guys? when you were coming up?
No, I observed them. I never hung out with them, but I was able to. I'm from, you know where I'm from.
You're from Brooklyn, yeah.
No, but you know what area I'm from?
I do know the answer to this. Wait, I know this.
I'm from the toughest neighborhood in the world, Brownsville, Brooklyn, East New York, Brownsville, East New York.
Yeah.
I was raised there in the 50s and 60s. So what comes from, there are guys who their aspirations that in life is to be a tough guy or be
right.
And I'm sure, I grew up around that and I saw it and I observed it. And they were my friends. They would give me $5 sometimes. Yeah, if I could get on when they were shooting crap in the streets. And when I was a kid, they used to say, you got to watch out because if Mario the cop comes around, you got to tell us. It was illegal in those years to shoot crap at the gamble. So I knew these people with the rest. So of course I saw it and understood it and was able to, as an actor, channel it and sometimes mimic it. But I'm a cream puff. I am really a sissy, sensitive sissy boy.
Well, Jewish boys don't fight.
I'm a nice Jewish boy. And you know something? You know the Jewish mother's advice to the son who was going off to war in World War II was, don't butt in. And that's the advice I've always been given by my grandmother. Just don't butt in. And my other code, and who I am, and I've always defined myself as, Jerry Lewis used to have a routine about, he's a 9-year-old boy, and who I am, and he would say to somebody, look, you could tell me to sit down. You could tell me, you could instruct me to go away. You could ask me to stand up, but don't holler. I understand that. That's what I understand. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not. I'm a cream puff.
Did you get beat up when you were a kid? Did you ever get beat up? Were you were the Italian guys tough with you? You laugh, you're making yourself laugh. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, because I like you already, and I'm very comfortable with you.
Good.
And I'm being so honest with you, right?
Good.
Have I ever gotten beaten up?
Yeah. When you were a kid, I mean, the Jewish kid, did you ever get beat up?
But I had a transition.
Okay.
Here's what I did.
You could talk your way out of it, I bet.
No. I had a transition. No. This is all. I'm telling you the truth.
I love it.
I went from a nice Jewish boy.
Yeah.
My grandmother was proud of when she got me bar mitzvah, and she made. This was an adopted grandmother. It wasn't my biological grandmother. But she was my grandmother. I went through a transition, and I've gone through therapy over the years. And
what Jew hasn't, David?
What neurotic Jew hasn't, right? But what happened was this brother-in-law that I talked to you about earlier, and that kind of masculinity, that different kind of masculinity, that kind of proudful peacock kind of guy who stands up in front of you like this. And doesn't hunch over like I do, but that attitude, that arrogance, that male strut, I took on, and I took on in a way when I was 14, 15, and 16 that I turned my back on it all, and I did a great sin, and I'm going to show it to you. I got a tattoo.
Oh my God. My grandmother, Katz, is turning over in her grave right now.
You know what my mother's maiden name is?
What?
Katz.
No, stop. So is mine.
K-A-T-Z.
K-A-T-Z.
My mother's Clara Katz.
We're related. And my grandmother's from Romania.
My mother's Clara Katz.
Oh my God. Sarah Katz. All right, here we go.
Look what I did.
How did you do that? Did your mother kill you?
I was hanging out with the tough boys now.
Oh my God.
I wasn't hanging out with the nice Jewish boys anymore.
Ay.
Yes. Exactly that. What you're doing right now was and I went crazy. And I did get into fights. And I did get to be a tough kid in a way. There was a part of me that wanted to, but that's the actor. You see, actors are fucking born. Actors are cursed because at birth they're actors, I believe, and you're cursed with it. And you look, because that's the actor in me. I wanted to take it on another personality, and it was acting. And and that's the truth. And I went to therapy about that. It's the actor who well, whatever. It was also had to do with a lot of what I perceive to be what Jewish male passive sexuality was about. Yeah, right. Big time stuff. And I didn't want to be associated with that. I wanted to be the arrogant male, and sexual creature, and not the passive. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Woody Allen. No, Woody Allen. I'm doing Woody now, but Woody Allen turned it into something very sexy, Jewish neurotic.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he turned it into something sexy because he was smart, but I turned it into something else about, and also my teachers when I was a kid in this yeshiva all were Holocaust survivors. They had numbers on their arms. There were people, this was very deep. The thing about praying to God and allowing yourself to be put on a cattle car, I just completely denied. I'm not going to be one of those people. I am not going to ever allow my family or myself to be treated like the teachers I had who went through. I could cry now.
You're making me cry. I had a lot of relatives with the numbers. Yeah.
Right. But this is how I took it. I'm not going to be part of that. I'm going to be I'm going to be a tough guy. Nobody's going to do that to me. But also I want to be an actor and all that. That's something. Anyway.
All right. So let's talk about, did you ever, by the way, because I was a dark-haired Jewish girl from the Bronx trying to be an actress, and you were a dark-haired Jewish boy from Brooklyn. Did anyone ever try to change you to try to make you more homogenous? Did you ever get screwed because you were ethnic? It seems to have worked totally in your favor.
Well, it was in the early 70s. With Dustin Hoffman after The Graduate, with Al Pacino, of course, after The Godfather and what he did off Broadway was already. There was Flavor of the Month.
Right.
It became that. Yes, it was that time for a particular type, but I never. Look. I was blessed early to have a great manager, which I did not understand at all, and how to cultivate the relationship, who wanted to design my career and didn't.
Wait, David, how did you get that manager?
Through Terry Garr. Remember Terry?
I love Terry Garr. Oh,
so do I.
Young Frankenstein. Who's funnier than Terry Garr?
He was my scene partner, friend, who was managed by her, and already her career was really in good shape. And she said, I need you to meet my manager. And I met with her, and I was doing a play in LA at the time that John Voight produced for me with Carl Borak.
Is this Pavlov Hummel?
Yeah, Pavlov Hummel. Exactly.
Now, how did you do that? Because Pacino started, wasn't that his role first?
Yeah, what happened was this, with Pavlov Hummel, 1973, 74. John got the play, John Voight.
Who really was very instrumental in your career. Yeah.
Very. I mean, John has not been in my life for a lot of years, but without John, I would not met Martin Scorsese. I would have not met Pablo Hummel. And then we had a movie we wanted to do together, which didn't work out. But John.
How did you meet John? How did that relationship start?
John at my teacher, Jack Walzer. Jack Walzer, great teacher. Great.
I know you studied with Uta Hagen because I studied in HB later, but yeah, this is before that.
No, I was with Uta earlier than Jack.
Okay.
But at HB Studio. But Jack, I met out here in LA in
Mhm.
1970, 71. And he was incredible.
Mhm.
I'm still with him right now. He's 96 years old. We still have our classes. Jack Walzer. John Voight describes Jack Walzer, and Robert Duvall knows Jack. And people, John Voight describes him. He's been to the mountain. He's one of those teachers who have been to the mountain. This man,
Wow.
he's a magnificent teacher, magnificent and great actor. But Jack Walzer, I met him at Jack Walzer's workshop. And we were working in this workshop. Terry Garr was in the workshop, and it was a wonderful workshop.
Wow.
And then he got this play.
Mhm.
He said, look, Al Pacino did this play in Boston first at the St. Charles Theater with David Wheeler. He said, it's been done. He says, but I see you in this role. And he put it together for me to do as a showcase after Mean Streets. I had done Mean Streets already. But he says, do this play and people will see that you're not the cousin of Martin Scorsese. What was said after Mean Streets was, oh, he's an Italian guy. You know what was said about me? Well, let me tell you something. I got to tell this to you about the Italian thing. I do this movie, Mean Streets, from Martin Scorsese.
Which we're going to talk about how you got that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And that's how I'm talking about. I do this movie, Mean Streets. We finished the movie, Warner Brothers fixed the movie, they're screening the movie. This guy, Ray Rapper, an agent, says, you know what people are saying about you in the movie? That you're not an actor. I said, what? They said, you're Martin Scorsese's cousin. People are saying he put in the movie because he liked how you looked. You were heavy, you had a round face.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, I guess in that movie you were.
I was like,
Yeah.
The chubby one, the bigger one.
Yeah.
I was chubby. I was eating a lot of bagels. Not
Love the
lasagna.
bagels.
Just a lot of bagels and cream cheese. It wasn't lasagna that was putting on weight. All right. Okay. And my mother.
I had a boy chick bagel for breakfast today.
My mother still, who's passed since, but she was with us, then still made potageri stuffed cabbage fricassee. My mother still would make Romanian dishes. So that's what I was eating. Anyway. But he cast me in this movie. We finish the movie. This is what this agent says. They think you're just one of those guys. I said, well, that's kind of a great compliment because I'm not. I'm an actor. He says, I know that, but they don't think, they think you're a cousin or somebody put you. Listen, this is all true. I said, wow. I can't get, he says, but Harry Eflin, an agent who was De Niro, says he's going to give you a try, but he heard you're just one of those guys. So what I did was, and this is all true, I went to this agent's office. I put a yarmulke on that morning. I did. After I heard that I'm supposed to be Marty Scorsese's. Yeah. Okay. I go into this guy, Harry Eflin's office, and I sit down and I go like this. Oy vey! I don't feel well today. This guy started cracking up like he says, okay, or you're an actor, I got it.
Oh so my God, that's fabulous.
And they said in Mean Street, Harvey is Jewish. Harvey Keitel, you know
right,
that.
Of course.
Jewish boy from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Bob is 1/4 Italian. He's not really. De Niro is. Father is 1/4. His mother's Irish, German, but he's not really.
You know that I didn't know.
No, he's not.
I did not know that.
His father is like half Italian. He was an artist. He's not. Richie Romanos is Lebanese. Martin Scorsese didn't hire one real Italian for that part for Mean Streets for the 4 leads. There's not one real. In fact, of the 4. I probably am more Italian than any of them. That's the funny story about that one. And I'm the guy, and they said, no, that kid he's just an Italian kid from that neighborhood, which was a great compliment. Now,
wow.
Now, the great film critic from, what's her name? The great one who used to do all the reviews. Well, now I've forgotten her name. The very famous film critic does a review on Mean
Pauline Kael, yes.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Pauline Between the two of us, we have a full brain.
Cats. We're catses.
Catses.
We're a couple of cats.
Cool
Wow.
cats.
Isn't that great?
That's crazy. I did
Isn't
not
it?
know that. My research did not turn that up.
My
That is
mother's name
crazy.
is Clara Katz.
Vicky Katz. It's my name.
Oh my God. Okay, listen
Yes.
to this. Now I'm telling you this story, whatever. So I'm the only real Italian. And they said, well, what is that? Oh, she said, Pauline Kael, in her review says, Tony, the bartender, played by David Proval, authentic performance. She says, authentic, round-faced, jovial, an authentic performance. Authentic. She hit it. She hit it. She saw the movie. You don't know something right now, and I'm going to say this for authenticity. When people see that movie, hey, listen, De Niro had a wonderful, fleshy, great role in it. And Harvey had this great role. For authenticity, nobody came near me. And that's the goddamn truth.
Yes.
And when people saw that movie, when the guys who were from that neighborhood, or the Italian guys from that neighborhood, they said, yeah, he's from the neighborhood. I could see it. Because I was so relaxed, and it was my first film.
Well, okay, how did you get that film? Let's talk about how you got that film. All right, before we talk about that, before we get to Mean Streets, how the hell did you become an actor? You're a kid from Brooklyn, no money, right? There's no money in your...
Very poor.
Very poor. So how did you get exposed? I know the answer to this, but...
My grandma used to take me to the Hopkinson Avenue Yiddish Theater. I mean, in Brownsville, there was a Yiddish theater, legitimate theater. And she would take me there, but it was all in Yiddish, you know. And I looked up, and I love the makeup. They all looked orange to me on stage, and I love that they looked orange. Look how beautiful they look. They look orange, you know. They look so alive. And she would take me there. She says, "You love this?" "Yes, I like this a lot." And she would introduce me to theater, and she was wonderful that way. And she put me in a little boys' choir when I was about 7, 8 years old. And I still have a good singing voice. Anyway, I had a very good singing voice.
Wow, have you sang?
No, I sing to sometimes in the car, and I'll sing again. My one musical audition was for Anthony Quinn, and I'll tell you. Yeah, and it was for Zorba the Greek.
Get out of here.
He was doing the musical Zorba.
Yeah.
He saw me on stage in Requiem for a Heavyweight. Now,
which you were nominated for a Drama Desk for.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be a Tony nomination, but it was a technicality. But anyway, a lot of things went on there. What was I saying just now?
You were talking about, a singing voice. Going to the Yiddish theater. Wait a minute.
With Grandma, yeah.
With Grandma.
And she put me in this choir.
Oh, the choir, right.
I'm going to tell you why I knew I had to be in theater. And in this choir, Sutnick, the tailor, had a choir in my neighborhood, which traveled to like Lakewood, New Jersey. This is enormous, Lakewood, New Jersey. And they would sing at old age homes, Jewish songs to Jewish old age homes.
Sure.
Jewish, very Jewish. Okay, and he put me in the choir to sing, like that, you know. They would sing, and big voices behind me, and I had a little baby voice, and they had Bobby Adelman, terrible kid, who had a great singing voice. Oh, this kid was a horror. He was a nightmare. Bobby Adelman. I'll never forget.
He was a horror.
Well, what a singing voice. He had a gift. This kid could sing, but he was a terrible kid. And anyway, him and I and one other kid, and we traveled. And I went to Lakewood, New Jersey, it was. And my mother taught me the song, My Yiddish Mama.
Oh, sure.
Which is a killer. I was 8 years old, and I knew the song. And I could sing it in English, and I could sing it in Yiddish as a kid. Well, Sutnick says to me, "You know, David, I'm going to have you sing My Yiddish Mama today in front of these people." I was at an old age home. I'll never forget this. Never in my life. And I said, "Oh, okay." I get up and I sing it. And I haven't told this story, I don't know in how many years. I'm getting very emotional right now telling this story. And I get up and I sing it. And I'm so happy to sing it because I see the faces of these old Jewish people go, "Oy, you boy."
Oy, gewalt.
Oh, these people were loving me. They wanted to take, they were so loving. I've never felt such love from an audience
Oy.
like that. They were giving me so much. I remember it. And I kept singing. And I thought, oh. A lady comes up to me and she grabs my hand. A little old Yiddish lady comes up and grabs my hand and puts something in my hand and says, "Du bist ein guten Boychik." You are a good boy. Okay. Right? Like that. And she's crying. She's crying and holding me. And she walks away and I open up. It's a $20 bill.
Wow. Back then, that's a lot of money.
I knew it's $20. I went up to Sutnick. He says, "Put it away fast." And I said, I got to do this for a living. They paid me to have such a great time. I made $20. He never paid Sutnick. He just, right. I just got $20 and had the best time of my life.
Wow. And were you doing like school plays and stuff?
Yeah, I did school plays.
You did school plays.
And I was in a play. I have another funny story about a school play. A wonderful teacher by the name of Mr. Moody, a black teacher I had in Brooklyn.
What school was it in Brownsville?
Junior high school 263. I went to first 66, which was the murdering school, and then they put me in 263. And the drama coach came up to me and said, "Look, you're the clown of the class. I'm going to put you in a play." I wrote a play. It was an American propaganda play, and he said, "Mr. Moody," I'll never forget, "Mr. Moody, and I'm going to put you in the play. You're going to get up," and he writes this speech. And the speech was, "My name is Ivanovich Grandovich Brondovich. I run this prison camp," like that. And I said, "Can I do it with an accent?" He says, "Yeah, you can do it." I do it with a Jewish accent, So he says, "Okay." Now I get up and I see my friends are sitting there, all the kids from school. There, and my friends are going, "Oh, he's going to make a fool of himself." And I'm going, I said, "My name is Ivanovich Grandovich Gefilte Fish." Improvise a line. I get this enormous laugh from the teachers. Enormous laugh I get. And I'm loose now. I got them. I got a big laugh. I get off stage and the teacher says to me, "Mr. Moody," says, "Did you say gefilte fish?" I said, "No, I wouldn't know." He said, "Yes, you did. Yes, you did." He says, "I'm going to tell you something. You have an incurable authority problem." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Moody." He said, "You should be in theater."
Oh, that's hysterical.
He sent me a letter after I did the movie Nunzio to Universal
We'll talk
Studios.
about that too.
In 1977, I got a letter. There's a letter here from a guy named Mr. Moody. I said, "Mr. Moody, he's got to be 100 years old."
And oh my God, you're giving me goosebumps.
He saw the movie. He went to see the movie, and he just wrote me a note. I'm emotional again.
I know. I have goosebumps.
He wrote me a note. "Keep up the good work, Mr. Moody."
Wow. Oh, yeah. The things that get us to where we're going. It's
the teachers in our life and what they've meant to us. The teachers in our life and what they've meant to us,
And you have teachered and mentored others. And we talked about this before we went on the air, and I just want to touch on it because the reason that you're here today is because when I interviewed Mark Metcalf, he said, you have to have David Proval. I said, "David Proval, we were in the M Word together.
Yeah,
we were co-starring," and I had
absolutely.
But he said you were coaching at the time.
Yeah.
He said you wouldn't believe the people that were in that workshop with David Proval, and he said he was the best. He said he changed my life. He changed my acting. Wow. He worships you. He thinks you are just a genius.
Wow.
And
yeah.
And that's what got you here. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, so you mentored and you coached others. Oh, you have to tell the Eddie Murphy story, because I didn't tell you this at the beginning, because Eddie Murphy started out in an improv group on Long Island called the Laughter Company, and I was in that group after he left. Yeah. So anyway, so go ahead, tell your Eddie Murphy story.
Eddie Murphy story. Well, I was hired they called me. They said, look, we're doing this movie. We got this kid. We got a real problem. I want you to see some film on him. What were the Gordon brothers. I used to call them the Jewish guys from Georgia. These producers, the Gordon brothers, remember them?
I don't
They
know.
were pretty hot for a while. They were doing a lot of movies. So they got this movie, 48 Hours, with Nick Nolte. And they called me, one of the Gordon brothers, saying, "Look, we heard you're a very good teacher, coach." They had a Southern accent. And but the Jewish guys from Alabama, I want you to come in, and I go in there, and the GQ guys are very fashionable, very cool, hip, but they got this Southern accent. The Jewish guys from the South. So, all right, okay, I go in, and they said, "Look, we got this kid. This kid can't act, but he's a big star right now." I didn't know anything about Saturday Night Live. I didn't know anything about it. I was out of touch with everything that was going on, as I am right now. But I was even more so then. I was out of touch. I didn't know who Eddie Murphy. He was a star already. He was on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
He's got a big TV show. I said, "Oh, okay, really?" He says, "But he's really, the kid can't act." Well, what do you want? What do you want? They offer me a lot of money. And if they offer me a lot of money, that's fine, because I need money. I'm an out of work actor, and I'm still looking for work as an actor at the time. Right now, it doesn't mean that to me, but then it did. For me, that was a lot. I said, "Okay, what do you want?" "Okay, you got to go up to his house." I said, No. I don't go up to his house. I'm the teacher.
Good for you.
No, these guys are more. I said, the man goes to the mountain. The mountain doesn't go to the man. Come on. He says, "Oh, well, he's busy." "He's busy? Well, then be busy, and that's it. I don't want to know from your money. I'm not going to his house."
Wow.
Like that. They were making out of him already, like, go to his house. Hey, fuck do I give you? This is a fucking kid. All right. Now we're home. Cheryl, my wife, we had an apartment on Beechwood Drive in Hollywood. And Cheryl's in the living room. I'm in the back one afternoon, and she screams, "David!" And I run, and there's this black kid standing in my bedroom, in my living room, holding the TV guide. But he just walked in, and she got frightened.
Wow.
And she got frightened. She screams out. He says, "Hey, I made the cover of TV Guide," which was a funny entrance. He wanted to impress me. I know actors. He made his entrance. So he was going to be, I could care less what I said to him.
What's that?
And I meant it. I'm on the Zoom. Yeah, there's a woman here.
There's a woman.
There's a woman
And
in
if
the
I
bedroom.
was Cheryl, I wouldn't like it either. I'd have to come in and see who she is.
There's a woman in the bedroom, Cheryl. She's a blonde. She's gorgeous. Look at her. And she's Romanian. And all right.
And a cat.
And a cat. Okay, now this guy, and I see what he is already, and he's
Is he arrogant? Is he full of
very,
himself?
very
Oh, yeah.
floating, and I see this, and I don't. We're talking about. I can't talk to you now.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Oh.
All right, so now
Oh, I love her already.
I got to. I don't know how to begin talking to this kid, because. So I give him a record to hear, a singer I wanted him to listen to. Now I've forgotten who it was. I said, "I want you to listen to the singer. Take this up." He said, "What?" I said, "I just want you to listen to this singer and tell me what you feel about it." I had an idea of how to work with it. And it can't be, where I say, "I'm not going to direct this kid. I'm going to find out what he's about."
Mhm.
And sometimes music is the best.
That's very interesting.
But he came back. And he said, "I understand why you wanted me to listen to it." I said, "Do you?" He said, "Yeah." And we talked. And I saw, okay, now I can work with this guy. Because he did. He understood.
Well, can you tell us what that was that you wanted him to find?
I wanted him to tell me what that particular piece of music and that particular rendition and that singer and his voice, and God, why can't I remember now what singer it was, and if it touched him, and where it touched him, and how it touched him, and why it touched him, and what it made him feel, and all that.
Was it because that the character that he was going to play was
No, I
reminiscent?
just wanted to
No.
know him. It was about him.
Oh.
He came back and he said, I don't know, it just meant nothing to me. Well, that would tell me a lot too, you know, but he didn't. He didn't. He says, I listened very, and then I said, now I think we can talk. And he was right there.
Wow.
Smart enough to not understand. Well, smart. His instinct was right to know I wanted to bring him. Now, I go to this first day, they're ready to fire this kid. And
No kidding.
They showed me some film on him. And I turned to them and I said, get Gregory Hines. He could act. Remember him?
Yeah, of
This
course.
kid couldn't act.
Hines and Dad from the Catskills.
I watched this piece of film he showed me. I said, this kid can't act. Get Gregory Hines. And you don't have to pay me. I said to them. He said, we can't. We spent money in San Francisco. You know how they get. All right. Anyway.
Well, plus he was already a big star from Saturday Night Live.
And plus the kids, you know, he's better than Gregory Hines.
Yeah.
And Gregory Hines could dance and act.
Do you remember Hines and Dad from the?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Magnificent dances and he's a wonderful actor. Anyway, we've got to shoot this scene, and it's like a Godfather story with Al Pacino. But if this kid couldn't deliver, if I'm coaching him, they were in big trouble because Nick Nolte was upset. Whatever. We're in a jail cell. They're going to shoot a scene in a jail cell, and he's in jail, and Nick Nolte's coming there to free him, to bring him out. This is a movie, 48 hours.
Right.
And I talked to him about what the jail cell, he understood everything I was saying. I said, what are you listening to? He says, I don't know. I said, whatever music comes on, when the man says action, play the music and sing. He says, not in the script. I said, listen to me. Play the music, whatever the song is, sing. He goes, okay. He loved it. So, okay.
No, not because of you, he started singing Roxanne.
Roxanne!
Oh, stop. You did that?
I didn't do it. You know who did it? God did it. Because on the radio, the music Roxanne came on, and that's when he started singing Roxanne.
I cannot believe you. That's one of the most memorable moments in film history.
I didn't do that. No, God did that for him.
Wow.
When someone is blessed, an actor is blessed, and that moment is there, everything falls in. I didn't do that. I just said to him, put it on, whatever music comes on, sing the song. And he sings it, and they go, and I see the director, and he loves it. Director loves it because directors love to be surprised, and they love when an actor will take a chance.
Well, sometimes they don't love it. Aaron Sorkin, not so much, right?
Okay, sometimes. And all I can hear is, how much does it cost us for that song? Well, I'm sorry. How much is it going to cost us? So I said, the kid, and he felt real good. He felt good.
Wow.
And then I said to him, look, when Nolte walks up to you, there's a black kid. I was raised in Brownsville. It was a black neighborhood. I know a lot of black people. I was raised, my mother was a matron in a black movie house. I used to go to the movies every day because my mother worked there, Clara Katz. She worked in the movie house with black people. I know black people. I said to Eddie Murphy one day, I'm a lot blacker than you. He was raised on Long Island. He was raised on Long Island. He lived in a house. I lived in a tenement. Don't tell me about what's black. He said to me one day, you know, you white people don't understand some comedy. I said, hey, firstly, I'm Jewish. We're the funniest people on earth. He said, no, you're not. We're probably.
Oh my God. That is hysterical.
Now is lit.
You're on for more than an hour and a half.
We're talking an hour and a half?
No, we've been talking for 40 minutes. Clara, no, that's not Clara. That's Cheryl.
Oh, that's my
Cheryl.
mom. She's saying we're
You told
talking.
me you were getting on at 4 o'clock.
No, 4:45.
But we weren't on the air till 5 o'clock.
But we weren't on till 5 o'clock. This is a funny interview. So what happens is I say to him, when he comes to you, when he walks towards you, now Nolte has very blue eyes. I said, look in his blue eyes. Know how blue they are. I know what that means
Is
to
the
you.
lovely lady going to let
You
you
got it.
see this before she
And he's here to
releases it?
save you.
Is
You
the
got it?
lovely lady you're talking to going to let you see this before she releases it?
No, we're live. Tell Cheryl we're live.
Oh, great.
You're in the
Hi,
interview.
everyone.
This is the new thing, man. Look, close the door. Anyway, he does it. He understood what I meant. The white
Wow.
savior is coming to save you, right? And he
Wow.
knew exactly what I meant. Even
Wow.
his eyes know what it means to you.
I can't get out of my head that you planted that seed that got him to sing Roxanne in that movie, which I will never forget. I can see it as clear as
Well,
daylight.
I just
Oh
told you
my God, that is
absolutely what
incredible.
happened. Believe me, whatever history.
Well, I believe in divine intervention and all that stuff, but still,
And people have a whole other thing about that. It's just simply.
yeah, but you triggered that. All right. So let's go back. So you want to be an actor. You're doing things. How does Mean Streets happen? How do you get your first film?
Oh well, Barney Scorsese wanted John Voight for the lead, and because John had
Because he's so Italian looking.
yeah, right. Well, what he said to me was, look, Marty and I share this Catholicism and the struggle with their Catholicism, and they share that, and they both had aspirations to be in the church. You know, John took it. I think he gave it some thought, and Marty thought that possibly his path would be that of. I don't know if you know this.
What?
But that Scorsese had a possibility of becoming a priest in his life.
I hear this. Yeah, is that really true?
No, but seriously, he struggles with his Catholicism, and that's what
Mhm.
the Streets is about, and that's what the other movie is about. So
Mhm.
we want them, so him and John, and you know, John had a name already. He was a big star already. He had this, and plus, John called me and said, "Look," I said to him, "Look, I'll do this movie if you do the other role." And that's when it was 2 years, a year before, I was very thin at the time. I put on 40 pounds away. That's not all my life I do that. But anyway, he said, if you do the other role, I'll do that role, John said to me. And then he finally said to me, look, what am I going to do? Dye my hair black and break my nose for your career? And I said, no, of course you can't do that. He couldn't do the role. You're right.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on, Italian.
He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He said to Marty, the best advice he said to him, get unknown faces. Don't get a star thing to do. And he was right. But Bob already had a lot of interest in Bob. Coppola was already interested in him. You know, it didn't come out of nowhere.
Right.
We met Marty through Barry Primus. But then that fell apart. Marty came back months later, and I got a call, and they said, Marty would like you to do another role in the movie. And I met him. He says, "Oh yeah, Barry, you put on weight." I said, "Yeah, I put on about 40 pounds." He said, "Oh great." He just wanted a fat guy, I think, or something like that. But what he got was the most authentic performance in his ensemble. Me, no, I mean that. Well, jokingly, I mean it. I mean it in Mean Streets. He said something one time. He hurt my feelings, Marty.
How so?
He said, I cast David Proval because I loved his Italian look and his robust, his chubbiness. So he didn't say chubbiness. He said this, he looked like he was eating lasagna a lot of the time. And I said, Jesus Christ, I thought he cast me because he saw my work, and I felt badly about it. But I confronted him with it.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. I said, you hurt my feelings. I read that. He said, no, you would say, oh, I love you. He's very, he's a effusive guy. He's lovely.
Did you audition for him? How did you get the part?
No audition for it. He saw me in class, and I was just working with Richard Romanos. He saw the two of us, and he said, wow, I don't want that guy in my movie. And he knew what he wanted. And I saw him at the show the vinyl rap party.
Just vinyl. The Ray Romano That
Yeah.
was your, yeah.
And he was always so affectionate and so warm. Look, he tried putting me in Taxi Driver,
Wow.
but he didn't. I said, I went and he says, "What do you want to do with this role?" So it was a nice cameo. And I told him what I thought. He says, "Gee, I don't agree with that, dude. This is not how you should play it." And then we had a little problem with that. He wound up doing the role himself in Taxi Driver, the one I wanted to do. And he wasn't very good, which I'm happy to say.
You would have been much better.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah.
Kidding me? I would have killed it. But he didn't really understand that. He wanted me to do something else. And then he wanted me somewhere else, but it didn't work out. But he's been nice to me. I mean,
Did you guys know when you were making Mean Street, you couldn't possibly have any idea the cult status that was to come from that film? But did you know making it that there was something brilliant there? Did you know?
No, what I knew was I watched this guy, and I didn't know too much about filmmakers. I had done a television show, I did an industrial film, I didn't know, but I watched Scorsese on the set when I wasn't working, and I watched him, and I said, "There's something going on with this guy." And somebody said, "You know what he's doing?" What's a filmmaker said? He edits on his feet as he watches the scene, as he
Wow.
he's like it's with film. He's
He's a genius. Yeah, hell yeah.
Genius. He says, and he watches, and he's a great audience to act for. And I remember that he would laugh, cut, and then crack up. Oh, you guys, he loved watching, and you feel it. You feel that the guy goes, "Oh, these guys are great." You do that, and you love that. He's that kind of. At least he was those years.
Wow. And so then how did Nunzio happen after that?
I was doing Pablo Hummel, and a playwright came to see.
Okay, so John produced Pablo Hummel. That's how that happened.
Yeah, John and Carl Borak. And the guy came to see it and said, "Wow, I want to write for you." And I said, "Okay." And then 2 years later, he comes back with a script. A guy came to see the play, a writer, who wound up starring and writing in it, and what wrote the script. Now, Richard Dreyfuss, who was also my friend in my life at the time,
Who has the same birthday as me, by the way, and I've gotten to tell him that.
Richard is a wonderful guy. Another great guy. I keep saying this, but I've been so lucky to have sweet people in my life. And I'm out of touch with everybody, but that's my fault. But Richard Dreyfuss, what was I saying just now, brought me a script.
We were talking about how you went from Pablo Hummel to Nunzio.
Richard brought me a script that I thought was just silly, but he said, "Well, you can make it work." But this other guy brings me this script, and the similar kind of the character was one guy had a fantasy of being Tarzan, the other guy had a fantasy of being Superman. Both guys had a retardation, a mentally challenged guys, but one had a sweet story to it, one had a ridiculous story to it. And I said, "This is great, this thing." And I brought it to Paul Williams, not the singer, but a director, Paul Williams, who lives in Brazil now, who wrote a book, and I'm in the book a lot. Elliot told me this morning, and I like to get the book and see what he wrote about me. But anyway, I haven't been in touch with him at all. I brought him the script, and he loved it for me, and he brought it to Universal Studios. I said, "Where? Jennings Lang." I said, "Jennings Lang? I mean, that's okay. He's on the 14th floor of the Black Tower in Universal. Where is he gonna? He wants to meet you. Meet me, Jennings Lang, 14th floor. I go up to the 14th floor. Big office, those guys, Jennings Lang, Sid Sheinberg, Lou Wasson, and come on, the Giants. I go into this office, and I'm in tongs and sweatpants. I don't know what I was doing. I was a little crazy in those things. And he says, "So what do you got? What do you want from me?" This Jennings Lang is a great guy. Old movie mogul, the typical old movie mogul, lawyer, handsome, man in his 60s, late 60s already, but really sharp, handsome guy. He's too cool. And he's got a picture on his desk, and it's Golda Meir. Written to him.
Wow.
God, Golda Meir. You know, who am I sitting with? Me, the schmuck. I'm guy coming. He's going to throw me out of this office. What am I doing here? He's on the phone and he's screaming. And he says, well, tell Redford to go. And he's screaming. I said, what am I doing here? He's screaming at Robert Redford's lawyer. And I got to get out of here. But Paul's saying, just sit. Tell him about the movie. Just sit. And he gets off the phone and he's saying, Redford, that piece of I'm sorry you're having problems with Robert Redford today, but
Wow.
yeah. So you're sitting there like you feel kind of, you know, all I did was Mean Streets and a play and a couple of things. And I know I worked with him by then, but he said, so what do you got? Oh, who are you? What's your name? I said my name. He said, all right. So what do you want to tell me? I said, well, we have a screenplay we want to talk about. He said, I didn't read your screenplay yet. What do you want to do? So we talked, I'm telling him about the movie. He says, yeah, tell him about the movie. And the writer is waiting in the outer office. He said, show me a scene from the movie. Can you act it for me? I said, what? He says, act a scene for me.
Wow. On the spot?
On the spot.
Wow.
This guy was, I go out to the writer and I said, do this scene with me and I said, can you give me 10 minutes or something? He says, yeah, I know, prepare. I know method. You know, he's very, I know you guys, you gotta prepare. Yeah. You know, one of those. And I go out and I do what I have to do. And I come back in and I do this scene for him. And I look up and he's all welled up and he's got tears in his eyes. And yeah, he was very touched by the work and what the scene was. And give me the script, I'll read the script. But he was emotional. He says, all right, you can act. You're an actor. All right, you're all right, kid. And that's how we got it done.
Wow. Okay, so before Cheryl starts yelling at me, I feel like, okay, we got to get to the Sopranos because we can't not talk about the Sopranos, even though we're skipping a bit. You've done what, 150 plus television shows. We're going to talk about a few of those. We'll get those in too, but so many films. Okay, so how did the Sopranos come to you?
I met first to read for Tony Soprano.
Wait, what?
They've had me in to read for the Tony role.
Really?
Casting the pilot, yeah. And they said, well, we really like you a lot, but you, once again, the Italian look, you look too right. You're too on the nose. We don't want, and they were right. Of course they were right.
That's so interesting.
Because if you look at Jimmy's face, Jimmy has the sweetest, if you really look at Jimmy Gandolfini's face, he's a gentle, very sweet face. If you really look at him, he looks like the guy next door.
You can look scary.
The face looks Romanian. They didn't know it was Romanians are scary too, but the gamblers. You know what Paul Muni said about Romanian Jews?
What?
They only have two choices in life: to be gamblers or actors. That's all they can do.
Wow.
Paul Muni said that.
Wow.
It's a Paul Muni quote. My mother was a poker player.
Wow. And a cigar smoker, I heard. I smoked cigars too back in the day. That's wild.
My mama. Okay. Yeah.
So, all right, give us the Sopranos. So they had you come in and read for Tony.
Right. And I didn't get it. And then I heard that first season was amazing. I love the pilot. I loved it. I said, Jesus, they're onto something. And I remember Chaz Palminteri, I bumped into him in a supermarket. He says, have you ever read that thing called The Sopranos about a wise guy who goes to a psychiatrist? He hated it.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they offered it to him. Or something like that. Or they were really seriously considering, yes.
That would have been a very different show.
It wouldn't have been a show. Nothing would have happened. The show is the show because it's me and David, and that's all. There's no show without James Gandolfini.
No. I mean, everybody surrounding it was brilliant too. Everybody,
Doesn't
but
matter. No, it doesn't.
but I gotcha. Yeah.
Without him, it's nothing. I know. I think that's why they gave him $10 million after the first season. They gave him $10 million.
Wow.
To stay on the show.
Wow.
Not to get too crazy. Yeah, because there's no show without him. So and there was.
All right. So you don't get the part.
I don't get the part, but I'm in New York for some reason, and walking. Who casts? What's his name's wife? The actor's walking.
Christopher Walken's wife, with a G. I know who. Gerald.
Georgianne Walken.
Georgianne.
So has me in for The Sopranos to read for some character, and I'm saying, I didn't get the big role. I'm not going to get one. They got guys, 10,000 guys. What do they have? But I read these sides, and I say, these writers know what they're doing. A guy by the name of Frank Renzulli wrote this. The show I introduced is Richie Aprile.
Mm-hmm.
I said, my God, this is very good writing for that genre, for those people who I know so well. You know, I know them. I know how they speak. I know what they'll say. And that's what made that show too.
Mm-hmm.
And like Frank Renzulli, who knew the music. And David did too. He recognized the music of the dial and the things that are said. I said, I'm going to go after this. I go up and I read for her. On the video, you got to read.
Right.
She says, okay. And I leave. I go, all right. So go home to California. You get a phone call. Oh, they want you to come back in. Come back in where? New York? I'm here in LA. Get yourself back. I fly myself back.
On your own dime?
Yeah, of course. They wouldn't send me. I'm telling you all the truth. I read again. And I'm walking out. She says, look, where are you going to be in the next week? She's wild now, Georgianne. I said, Georgianne, do I have this? Just listen to me. Georgianne Walken's great. She's great when casting directors, when they know they got you. I says, oh, okay. Can you stay here a week? I'll say, I'll find the couch. I'll stay a week. And I go back in, and that's a week later for a third read. I said, what are they making out of this role? You know, you're an actor, you understand. Why are they? Because they had plans for it. If it worked, only if it worked. And it worked because they kept writing for me, and it worked. The thing was this, I go back in, and that's the story, the audition story. I chose a shirt that I thought a wise guy, a cheap Italian looking knit. It's, you know, they would buy these guys. I knew them so well. I knew how they dressed. I knew what they were thinking. I knew when I put on that shirt, I was thinking, oh, look at me. Whoa, I'm so gorgeous here. Every blonde in the world is going to fall down. You know, those guys, you know, I know how confident they are in their masculinity, you know, and I love that. It's just fun to watch. Anyway, sometimes silly, but it's fun to watch. So I go in, I'm wearing the shirt, and we finished the reading, and it was James Gandolfini. He looks at me and he says, off book. Richie, where'd you get that shirt? And he says it to me. It's a beautiful reading. And all I can say to him is, you don't like this shirt? He said, I didn't say that. I said, no, I get what you're saying. He said, no, I didn't say that, Richie. I'm just asking you where you got it. I said, hey, don't fuck with me. You don't like my shirt? And he loved it. And we got off. Well,
wow.
As HBO, all the suits are sitting there. You know, they're so nervous to cast this role. And we just went off book, and they're like, they love what they saw. You know,
wow.
Now they say stand up next to each other. And when I'm standing up, Jimmy keeps getting up. He's a big guy.
He keeps getting up.
I'm a little guy. I get up once. He gets up and keeps going. He keeps going. And I look and I said, this is going to blow the job right now. This is going to blow the job. Because this guy looks like a building next to me. And I look, you know, and I look at this crowd and I say to them, Look, I play 6'4". I get a big laugh, and he looks at me, he goes, "Oh," he went like, "I'm not saying, don't get nervous." And I walk out of the office. I figure I don't give a shit. There were two very famous actors waiting to go in to read. I'm not
For the same part?
same part, which got me crazy that they had two guys who had a lot bigger names than me. They were big stars coming in to read for this. They were big, they were famous.
Right.
And I said, I'm walking out. They got the two famous guys. I'm like, I go to a museum, the Museum of Natural History. I just wandered in there. The one that has the dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
And I walked in. I don't know why I took myself to the museum after the reading. I had to go. I went to a museum and I looked at the dinosaur. And I said, this is what this business makes you feel, as small as this. Look at the size of this dinosaur. And this
Wow.
dinosaur didn't want to be a movie star. When you're big like that, when you're short like me, you want to be. No, I went there. I got back to the room. The phone's ringing. I pick it up. It's my agent. Said, "You got it." I said, "Got what?" "You got it." I said, "Oh, all right. I got the show on." She said, no, you don't get this. You're a regular on the show. They offered you like 7 shows. I thought it was 1 show or 2 shows.
Oh.
I just wanted to do the role. I didn't think it was a reoccurring. It was not. It was a regular on the show. That's why they were making a big deal about it, because they were,
Sure.
you know.
And what a huge, I mean, iconic character that's absolutely unforgettable. Your whole, did you know when you started that you were getting 1 season?
Yeah, no, I didn't. But what happened was that they kept writing. They were writing for me, and Ziegfeld, the Ziegfeld Theater had an opening scene. It was amazing. They fly me back to New York after I do the show.
Mm-hmm.
I get back to New York to go to the premiere of the 2nd season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be the first 2 shows. I'm in the 3rd show. And I said, "Oh, safe. I'll just go. I'll sit. I'll relax. Say hello to people. I won't have to worry about my work."
Mm-hmm.
I go to the Ziegfeld Theater. The streets are jammed with people. Jammed. It was insane. Michael Imperioli comes up to me. He says, "Do you feel like the Beatles?" It was insane. People were all over the place because of the first season. The cops were there. The cops were there. It was like a Hollywood thing or whatever. So I go in, but I'm going to sit and relax. David Chase gets up and makes an announcement. He says, we were going to show the first 2 shows this year, but because of plot reasons, which was a lie, complete lie, we're showing the 1st and 3rd. I said, "Oh no, I'm in the 3rd show." Oh no. I wasn't there. I thought I was there for, I wasn't going to see how nervous people. Oh God, no. And they showed the 1st show.
Now, wait, why did they not show the 2nd show?
Okay. He said it because of plot reasons. Later in the season, they didn't want to give plot away and were being very secretive. He played the 3rd show. What was told to me by the producers later on, when everybody got to know me,
They wanted to show you off.
Yeah, that's all.
That's
I'm
all.
being honest now. I don't want to.
Of course,
Yes,
of course.
They saw that performance. Let's got to show Proval. We'll hook him into the season, and that's what I was told. But he got up and said, "Plot reasons, never plot. It didn't mean anything." But they wanted to show. So I didn't know that.
Right.
I thought it's plot reasons, and now I'm going to sit and So I'm sitting there. I'm sitting. Drea DeMeo is sitting next to me, and she remembered this. She remembered this happening. And I was sitting there, and there's the scene where I hit him with the coffee pot. And I was at a point where I'm watching that character, what I was doing there, very separate from myself. And I turned to Drea, and I said, "That guy's got a problem."
Oh my
Because I really
God.
just saw, and you know what? I saw it, and I know who that guy was, Frankie Geneva, because I've seen. You asked me if I ever seen the Neighbors and Tough Guys. I seen somebody do something that was once. I was so stunned by it, hit somebody in a way that was, how can you do that? And then I saw myself do it. And I always thought Frankie Geneva has a serious problem with, and it was a moment I said, Jesus, I'm just looking at this character, not myself. And that was great. That was good. I was able to separate myself that way.
And
then-
so you didn't know that it was going to be a 1-season run when you
No.
started.
No.
And how did they
And then
break
kept
that to you?
rumoring- Well, HBO came to me at one point and that show said, we got an idea. We want to take Richie Aprile and put him in Philadelphia. So, yeah, he's going to start his own thing in Philadelphia. And every once in a while, we'll bring him and Jimmy he'll have a Philadelphia. I said, wow, hallelujah. I'm going to make a few dollars finally in my life. But David Chase said, we don't do that. It's going to happen. He was calling it spin-off. It wasn't a spin-off. It was in the show. We're not a spin-off. What are we, a comedy? You know, He was right. He was right. It was extending something that should not, because when they let it go, I said to David Chase when he called me with that call that they give, you're off the show. I knew I was good. And there was women I didn't know, and I did know. But he gave me the call, and I said, is this the governor's call? Do I get a reprieve? He said, oh, I wish I could. You know, I said, I think you're right. How many times can I stare at him with anger? How many, leave it go.
And what a way to go.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
No, and he was brilliant with that because he said, who should shoot you? He said to me one day. I said, none of them are smart enough to shoot me. You know that. He says, I know. You're right. And he figured it out.
Wow. It was such a shock. It's such a shock when you see it.
Did you think any of those guys could get Richie? No. Not.
You know what's so amazing about the show,
I gotta do
David?
something for 1 second.
Yes, go do what you have to do. Oh, having fun with David Proval and Cheryl in the other room. This is a riot. So, Terry, I don't think I'm going to get to your question about innocent blood because I don't think I'm going to have David for very much longer, and I have to cover a couple of
He was under the
things.
bed. The dog was under the bed.
Uh-oh. I was just going to tell you that I watched The Sopranos like everybody else in real time. You know, we couldn't binge in those days. We watched in real time. There was no place we were going to be on Sunday night except watching The Sopranos. Except recently, my kids started watching, and because of them, we started re-binging, and I just watched the whole thing again. As brilliant now as ever, if not more so. You one scary motherfucker. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary.
So how did you go from playing Richie Aprile to being a rabbi on the West Wing? How did that happen?
Well, that's easy. We just talked about that. You know that. I was so happy to go into that synagogue on Wilshire Boulevard. I felt so at home. But I had this director. I remember him. This guy named Tommy Schlamme.
Of course.
Oh, you know,
Yeah. Well, because it's snuffy. Yeah.
But you know, he would not have cast me if he had seen Sopranos. He never saw me on Sopranos.
Oh.
I read for him. That wasn't an offer. I had to go in and audition for the rabbi. I went in an audition for the rabbi.
I
But
see.
he had never seen. He would not have cast me if he had seen.
You think?
Never. He would never.
Directors have.
If he had seen Sopranos, even after the reading, I don't think he would have cast me.
Wow. How did
I didn't.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. I don't remember that well. You know, I wound up few months ago working with Martin Sheen again on Grace and Frankie. I did a scene there. It was terrible. And
Yes,
I was terrible.
No, you weren't terrible.
Oh God, I was.
I'm sorry, but it's a pretty odd, it's not a great show. It's not a
I did it because I want to work with Martin. And I went there, and they said, "Come." And Betty, I worked with her years ago. Betty Thomas, and I went. They don't pay to be, but the thing didn't work. I don't know what I was doing. It was all right. It's just a few months ago. Everybody's fine. They got it on the air. They didn't cut it. So
how did Everybody Loves Raymond happen? You know, my friend Ricky Bird, he's in Joan Jett and the Blackhearts in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he said that's his favorite character of yours was you on Everybody Loves Raymond, and Phil's a good friend. How did that happen?
I met Phil Rosenthal, your friend. I remember at the SAG Awards, I was there, and he came up to me. He said, "Well, I really like your stuff on the, Sopranos and we're wonderful." He said, "Do you ever think you should be on a comedy?" I said, "That's what I always thought I should. I always thought that's what I would be."
Really?
No, I never. Yeah. Early up, I always thought comedy would be my strength. Whatever that means. It is a strength of mine, but not situation comedy. And I said, "Yeah, I would love." He says, "Well, there's a role we're thinking of." Okay. That's my sister. Would be great. I just got off The Sopranos, and Raymond, I never watched. I didn't know the show, but Raymond was like #1 or something comedy.
Oh yeah.
So I go from a drama, #1 drama, to a #1 comedy. What could be bad? Nothing
Couldn't be bad.
No, and then they tell me CBS has never done this in the history of the situation comedy. We're going on location. We're going to Italy. I said, "Well, sitcom? I'm going to Italy?" Yep. We went to Italy to shoot. Come on, we're blessed. I'm doing a sitcom. Cheryl and I go to Rome. CBS really did classy stuff in the hotel and everything. It's wonderful. Terrific.
Fantastic.
Yeah, nice gig. Great gig. And then they wanted to keep writing. But it was the last season. It wasn't my stuff. I felt very leaded on the show.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't feel Peter Boyle was amazing. He's a great actor. And Doris, she had, a handle. And Brad Garrett, we message each other like Brad Garrett.
Sweet.
Yeah, but they all had. I had this character. I didn't know what to do with it. Then it didn't work for me.
Well, it worked for the audience watching you. So get over yourself here.
Oh, oh, it's all wonderful. It's all good. You still get residual checks. They play.
That's a wonderful
How
thing.
much?
Terry wants to know. He said he loved your role in Innocent Blood, and he wants to know if you have any stories about making that picture.
Yeah, Don Rickles.
Okay, now I heard you say something about James Caan and Don Rickles. Please tell what I heard you say.
Well, when Jimmy Caan was asked who was your prototype for playing Sonny Corleone, he said Don Rickles. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
I understood it. No, Jimmy Caan's, may rest in peace. I love Jimmy. I worked twice with Jimmy Caan. He did a great thing for me too, Jimmy Caan. I have such stories, over the years. Jimmy Caan. Anyway.
Wait. What did he do for you?
Well, we're working on a movie, and my Harry and Walter go to New York. Jimmy's the star, and my character named Ben. Diane Keaton says to my character, "Ben, you stay here, and we go to New York, and we're gonna, it's a little romp. It's a little comedy romp." And then my character is written out of the movie. So they were shooting the movie. I mean, I was having so much fun with Elliot Gould and all those people. I was so happy. 1974, 4 or 5. And Diane, I'm on camera, and Diane says, "Ben, pack, we gotta go to New York." And she went, and okay, print. And I say to Mark Rydell, I said, "Mark, did you hear what she said?" she said, told me to pack. We're going to New York. The line is, Ben, you stay here. We're going to. He said, no, you're in the movie. We're not writing you out of the movie. Oh, that was a gift to me. That was the way they were telling me,
Wow.
they're like, I said, well, how did this happen? He said, Jimmy Kahn. I said, what? He said, Jimmy Kahn went to the producer, says, you can't write this guy out of the movie. He's a part of the gang. You can't.
You're making me cry. This is such a beautiful story.
Because that's the person he was. He was such a mensch. Anyway, real mensch. And he knows, I'm like acting, trying to make a living. He knows he's writing about a movie. This is 4 more weeks of movie he wrote me into. I
Wow.
went up to him and I said, Jimmy, I heard that you what you did for me. He said, listen to me. I didn't do it for you. I did it for me.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't that the sweetest thing in the world to say?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that the sweetest thing in the world to say?
Amen.
Tough guy, right? A tough guy, Sonny Corleone, tough guy, right? A real,
Another Jew, no?
yes, of course. Yes. No,
So-
we had a scene in that movie, and I got to remind Elliot of that day. Jack Guilford, great actor, Jack Guilford. We're trying to break into a bank, and when you're raised in New York City, you were raised in New York City, yeah, the
Yeah.
Bronx.
Yeah,
The old school buildings, the old windows had window poles. You remember the
sure. Oh, sure.
big window poles, and you had to pull down the window.
Sure.
Old. We're trying to break into this bank, and Jack Guilford has a line, get the window pole. But Jack Guilford was doing this role in a Yiddish Russian accent. So me and Elliot and Jimmy are all lined up. It's turn of the century. We're on these funny costumes, we're all lined up. And Jack Guilford says, get the window pole. And I feel Jimmy Cahn's body start trembling with laughter. Because I know what he's laughing at. He's laughing at our neighbors and guys we grew up with. Ben, get the window pole. I'm falling down. Deli Coop falls apart, and we fall apart. So Mark Riddell comes over. He says, "Wait a second. This is a scene about breaking into a bank. You guys can't do this. You can't do this. Come on, just settle down." All right, we're trying to settle down again. And Jack is so like, "Get the window pole." Jimmy can't take it. He can't take it. He can't take it because we all grew up in New York City with the big window pole. Get the window pole. They had a break for lunch. I said, "Okay, that's it. We're break for lunch."
Oh my God. That sounds like every relative that I have.
Right, every relative, every sound like my brother. Get them in the pole. I love stories like that. I love that.
All right. So tell a story from Innocent Blood for Terry.
Oh,
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles were in Pittsburgh, and it's about 10 degrees, 20 below zero. It's freezing.
Oh my gosh.
We're trying to shoot this scene, Anthony Palia, and I'm playing this mob guy. I was so cute in those years. I look at pictures of myself. It's, gee, you were a good-looking Italian boy. You were. I look at pictures. It's, gee, you look like I look terrible now. Anyway, but
Oh, no, you look amazing. I know how old you are. You look amazing. It's crazy.
I'm 80.
No one would ever know.
I'm 80.
It's
I just
crazy.
turned 80. I just turned 80.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Gesang gesint.
That's very sweet. All right. Anyway, I'm doing this scene. It's freezing out. I'm supposed to be really angry, and I'm going at this guy because he's snitching and they have cops dragging me. And Don Rickles plays a consigliere of the mafia guys in a Russian hat. You know those Russian hats. And he's standing there. I haven't met him yet, but he's just standing there. Right? He's in the scene, but he's in the scene, and I'm rushing him. I hear cut, and I stop. John Landis is directing the movie, runs over, he says, "David, what's the matter with you? Why'd you stop?" I said, "I heard cut." He says, "I didn't say cut." Don Rickles says, "I said cut." And John says, Don, you can't. I call cut. I'm the director. You don't call cut. He says, and John says, "I knew I would have this with him. I knew this would happen with him." And now I'm looking, I'm saying, "Oh my God, this is," he says, "You see him?" And he points at me. He says, "He's spitting all over the place." He says, "He's a method guy." I know these method guys. That's just what he said. He said, he's a method guy. I know these actors. The method. He's all over. He's spitting. I didn't know I was spitting. I'm screaming and he's spitting. He says, he spit all over me. Now, and he said it in Don Rickles, the way Don Rickles would say it. And there's more laughter. LaPaglia falls down laughing. I fall down in the snow. There was snowbanks. And I start laughing. I fall in the snow. Johnson said, I'm losing control of this set. He's a method guy. Now, we finally get the scene done. And I go up to him and I said, Mr. Rickles, I'm so excited about you being here. And I'm a great fan. He says, you know what you're going to do on this movie with me? You're going to sit with me and go over my lines. I said, well, what? He says, you're a method. I know you're an actor. He thought I was an actor because I was doing, he liked what I was doing or something. I don't know. I think he knew my work by then. He knew
I'm
me.
sure he did.
Oh, he did. And he says, you're going to help me in this role. I'm not, I said, no, I can't help you. You're a wonderful actor. I hung with him. Oh, we went out to dinner. People would treat him like royalty. When we walked into a restaurant, people loved him. And he goes on the Johnny Carson show. Oh, his wife is coming to town. He says, if in the hotel, he found out they put me in a suite with 3 rooms. I don't know why they did that. I had 3 phones. He finds out. He used to call each phone. and it took me a while to figure. I would run each phone. And then he finally said to me, who are you to get 3 phones? You're a nobody. I'm Don Rickles. Who are you? He would abuse me, and I would say to him, you're my last chance at meeting Frank Sinatra. He said, you don't have enough money to meet Frank Sinatra. He was nuts. He goes on Johnny Carson, and Cheryl and I are watching Johnny Carson one night. He says, I just did a movie with this kid, David Proval. He's a good actor, this kid, David Proval. He mispronounces my name. And Johnny Carson says, who? He said, some kid, David Proval. He's a good actor. He doesn't mention the name of the movie.
Wow.
But he plugs me.
Wow.
I call him the next day to thank him for that. I had his number. I call him to thank him, Don Rickles. And he goes, you piece of shit. I said, what? What did I do? He said, you take till 11 o'clock. When in your life did you think a star like Don Rickles would go on the Johnny Carson show and mention your name? And you take it to, he says, I called earlier. Your wife answered the phone. She was so excited it was me. She ran out on the lawn naked. He couldn't stop. Don never could stop. He never.
Oh God.
That's another man in my life. He was, but I lost touch. I went to see him in Vegas once, and I went backstage, and he was very sweet. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing a series." And then he abused me with something, something abusive to me. And he says, "Is there a part for me on your series?" I said, "Yeah, but you just blew it." He loved it. I love it.
David, so how did coaching, doing workshops, how did you start?
John Voight, when we were in class together and our teacher left, Jack Walser, to go back to New York, and we still needed a place to work, he took over and we would moderate, and then I would moderate. We would revolve moderation. Then he said to me, David, to make a living, I had to my first wife then in those years. I'm married 45 years to Cheryl. I was married 14 years
Wow.
to Cohen of the Bronx, Harry Cohen of the Bronx, and my first marriage. So I needed to make a living somehow. Always, he said, "You can do this and charge." I said, "No, I can't." He says, "You can," and he inspired me to be a teacher too. So John has done a lot for me in my life. He inspired me to do it. He says, "You have that." Whatever it was. Whatever.
Tony's asking.
I'm sorry.
Tony's asking if there's a book in your future, and it sounds like you really should write one, David.
I've been asked to write one several times. People have come to me. Yeah.
You have great stories.
No. I've fun stories with great people. I do have enormous stories. I love telling them sometimes.
So how do you know Henry? How did you meet?
I
Henry
did get to
Jaglom?
meet Frank Sinatra from John.
Oh, tell.
Oh, I did get to meet. Cheryl and I are in Palm Springs, and Cheryl is a writer. She's writing somewhere. So she was writing a story on Indian casinos, and she was interviewing an Indian chief, whatever it was. I don't remember. And I see Don Rickles sitting in the lobby. Don Rickles is walking. I run up to him. I said, "You can't lie to me. I know why you're here." I said, Sinatra, it's just this. He said, "Look, you come to the," he writes it down, no cell phones, writes it down, come to this restaurant. I'm going to be there with him tonight. I'll introduce you. Don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass me. I'll just say hello, and that's it, and I'll leave. And I'm not going to, he said, "Okay." I go to the restaurant, and Cheryl didn't go with me. She didn't want to be there. And I walk in, Mitch G comes up to me, knows my name right away. I didn't say a word. Everything is pretty controlled.
Wait a minute. Cheryl knows you're going to meet Frank Sinatra and she doesn't want to go with you?
No.
Wow.
Cheryl's maiden name is Macarello. She's an Italian girl. Father's Italian. That's a whole other history about what she feels about. She wrote an article, my wife, for Village Voice, and she was a writer about those kind of tough guys. She didn't like being around them. And she has an Italian heritage that doesn't take kindly to what
I see.
A guy like
I see.
Sinatra's about.
Mhm.
See,
Gotcha.
that's who she really is.
Wow.
All right. No, it doesn't take kindly. Her father didn't take kindly to. He was a great man. I love the father. But anyway, so it was something like that. She doesn't.
I gotcha.
But me, I'm an Italian boy.
You're the Jewish boy.
I'm the Jew Italian. I'm the Jew up. I'm the Jew up. Are you kidding me? I love it. You serious? So I gotta go, and he takes me to the back. I walk in, sitting there just to do with the guys and the whole thing, you know. And I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. I go up and he looks up and it's him. It's the first thing I see, the blue eyes. It's Sinatra.
Oh my God.
Don says, "Frank, this is a kid I was telling you." He called me a kid. I wasn't a kid already. The kid I was telling you about. He's a good actor, this kid. I just did a movie. He's a very good actor. So yeah. He says, "Yeah." He's looking at me. He's just looking. "Sit down." I said, No. I'm just here to say hello. I wanted to meet you. I'm a big fan. You know, I wanted to just disappear because John said, "Don't embarrass me." So he says, "Sit down." And the guy sitting there, he says, get a seat, like true Sinatra style. He says, "So yeah, you did a movie with them? What was it movie? And it's Pittsburgh, you just did." Yeah. He says, "Tell me about yourself." I said, "Well, no, I did a movie in Martin Scorsese." "Oh, good director. What movie?" "Mean Streets." And he looks at me, he goes, "You were the bartender." I said, Right. He knew he says, "Good."
Wow.
Knew the movie, but he knew.
Wow.
I had a phone conversation with Scorsese recently. He said to me, "I'm very interested in it, in what he did with that movie." So now he's talking to me. "Don, don't worry, I'm not going to embarrass you." He knows my word. Don, I'm such a schmuck. You're a schmuck kid from Brooklyn. You're a Jewish kid from Brooklyn.
You're a hockey puck. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a hockey. So he says, "Well, what does he do?" I said, "Well, I did a movie titled Nunzio." He stops again. He goes, "Wait a second.
No, stop.
Jennings Lang movie," he said to me. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Jennings sent me that movie. I saw the movie. He sent it to." He said, "Jennings."
It is an hour. Over.
And
We're gonna finish. We're
So
gonna
it was a
finish.
great conversation. We talked to him about film. He talked about film that he loved, film that he promoted, film actors that he loves. What do I feel about this guy? Articulate guy. I thought he was a lovely man. I mean, that's all I had with him. But he spoke of film in a very respectful way, you know, very precious Manchurian Candidate. He told me all about what he's done with film. Suddenly, the movie I love too, and I knew his movies, so he loved that. I said, "I know these." He said, "You know the movie." I knew his movies and the movies he promoted. So he complicated, you know.
Wow. All right. So I know Cheryl's having a conniption and I don't want to do this, but just, so, okay. So you can see Nunzio on YouTube. It's available now.
I found out recently.
Okay. So I know you have things in the can. So what's coming out? What's coming up? What do you want to do next, David? My God, you're never going to slow down.
No, I'm slow down. I did a movie for Latin from Manhattan. A man by the name of Tommy Mignoni, who I love. I met him 4 years ago. I've been struggling with him to get this. Well, he got it out. It's titled Latin from Manhattan. I don't know what.
He's a Latin from Manhattan. I remember that song.
Yeah, but it's about a porn. It's about the porn business. And
Oh wow!
the first woman of color in porn.
Wow.
But whatever. And I'm going back to do a movie very soon with Federico Castelluccio, you know, from the
I do.
Brooklyn Bank. I did a movie with him titled Brooklyn Bank. I did that about 6 years. And the movie got distribution. You know, the lead, Troy Garrity, Jane Fonda's son, a very good actor.
Huh.
The lead in the movie, and I've got like second lead with her, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to go back and do a movie. I did a play in New York about 7 years ago. I can't do the lead anymore, age-wise and a lot of reasons, but they want me to do the other role. And
Which play is that?
A play called Queen for a Day. I did it off-Broadway about, oh my God, it's 7 years already.
Wow.
And they're going to do a movie. We'll see. We'll see.
And you did a film recently with Michael Imperioli, Cabaret Maxime. Yeah.
Cabaret Maxime. Well, did that. It's not that recent. It's 6 years. But I like that movie a lot. And Michael's terrific in it. I like the director a lot. Interesting guy, very interesting guy. But
As are you, David. I'm calling Mark as soon as we get off the air to thank him again for this. What a joy. I've loved your work forever, but now you're such a you're like
Katz's.
Yeah, we're Katz's. It's fabulous. Thank you so much. I've so enjoyed this.
This is cute. I did too.
And tell Cheryl I'm sorry for keeping you so long. I know it's dinner time, but I'm going to stay in touch with you. I adore you. You're wonderful. Thank you so much, David.
25 years of marriage. I got it wrong. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Okay.
Thank you so much.